Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It is me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. Welcome to this video. This is about July. We got a lot of juiciness, a lot of big things happening in July. July is going to be loud. It's going to be very bold. It's going to be very electric. It's going to be very unpredictable. So get ready for that. Uranus is going to change the sign in Gemini. It's going to move into Gemini in July. Mercury is going to rewrite the narrative and retrograde in the sign Leo. Neptune is going to strip away our illusions and it will be retrograding. And Saturn is going to remind us of some unfinished karmic business and what do we need to be accountable, what are the lessons. So whether you are a leader, a creator, a creative energy, or a truth seeker, this month is going to bring some shocks. It's going to bring some shifts. There is going to be new events happening in the name of communication and socializing and friendships. There could be some spiritual and relationship resets, some in a good way, some in a negative way for us. But I'm going to break it down, everything you need to know to navigate July's major astrological transits with some clarity and some confidence and some knowledge and maybe a little rebellion. Okay. So yeah, if you are here for July, and you want to break it down and you want to know the knowings of what needs to happen in July, you're at the right place. And let's get started.
3, 2, 1.
I love you.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you straight up, okay? The major themes that I see for July is that Uranus is at 29 degrees right now. It's in a sign Taurus. Uranus likes to break the traditions, and Taurus is the traditions. Uranus likes to change things up. Is at 29 degrees. That is a very strong degree, okay? It's a degree of urgency and hurry up. So a lot of things in Taurus and Uranus, radical instability when it comes to money, what we value, our land, farm, resources, all that. So a lot of sudden market crashes and banks and news, things related to the earth. It is an earth sign. A lot of disruptions in that, a lot of rebellions on luxury. If you've been watching things, my mom was just telling me she was watching on consumerism, all that materialism. If all those things have been hitting your front door, money, finances, what you value, food, luxury, all that's been a big awareness or a shift or a change. Then that is that Uranus changing in 29 degrees in Taurus. And Venus is going to sit next to it in this month. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But in the middle of the month, Venus is going to enter Gemini. And when it enters Gemini, I always have to... And I even okay, another story. If you guys are listening to this via podcast, and yes, I'm everywhere on the podcast, wherever you can listen to this podcast, I am available to listen to. So you don't have to just be on YouTube or Facebook or where am I on X? So anyway, what I was going to say is if you're just listening to this, I always have a problem with my chair and scooting it up. I even purchased what is this? Like a plastic thing that goes under your desk. But yeah, I just need better wheels, okay, or a better chair. You know what? Uranus is going to enter Gemini this month, and that is all about communication and changing the way we think of communication. It's all about technology, social media, huge thing on social media, okay? So, and we haven't had this since 1942. I've done a video on predictions on Uranus and entering Taurus and what it looked like in the past and some future predictions, but we'll talk about that. Just expect some major disruptions and breakthroughs with AI. Okay, major communication, education, transportation. If you have Waymo is going to get bigger. Okay, also to the internet, censorship, new devices. Yeah, how we think, how we speak, how we learn. All that's going to have some new breakthroughs or some major disruptions. Okay, a lot of feeling like it's Mercury retrograding and things moving really fast. And far as those departments of education, communication, friendships. We'll get into it, okay? Neptune and Saturn also too this month are going to retrograde in Aries. And this is all about the identity crisis. This is also about the war that we have currently, the World War III that is happening. I've done videos on this. I have still my 2025 playlist is still, the predictions are so strong. Hello, Sandra. Thank you, Danyell. You're the very best astrologer. Thank you. You explained everything so clearly. I hope I do. It's easier to understand what you say. Good. I hope so. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to write them, or even if you're watching this after the live, if you write them, I answer pretty much every comment unless they're negative. Okay. Anyway, but Neptune, Saturn, they're both going to retrograde in Aries, and them being in Aries and them being conjunct is the reason why we have Trump not being honest about, and some people may think he's a dishonest person, but regardless of that, but the government, Saturn represents the government, restrictions, the men of power, the old men, okay, the mentors, the leaders, and you have our father figure, and you have this energy sitting next to Neptune, and Neptune is representing deceitfulness and deception. So him saying, oh, I'm not going to bomb for some time now, and then bombing, that all. I had like a list too on my phone. Let me see if I can put it up on my computer. Let me see if I can find this list. I had a Neptune and Saturn list, planned deception, digital ID system. Oh, we were on the airplane. So we, if you didn't know, we're on a Hawaii, and that was in my last video. And I wasn't even going to film today because the jet lag is intense, but at least I unpacked anyway. But Neptune and Saturn, that digital ID, the guy took, you normally, I don't know if you know this, but when you fly, you show your ID or your passport, and then you show your ticket, like you show your boarding pass. And this is when you get through TSA. If you have clear, there's also too an awareness of a lot of people realize that they have clear or whatever that one you pay for, and now they are aware that that whoever's in charge of TSA, the big people, that they know everything about you, like your every move or something just came out about that anyway. So before that, without that, if you're just going through regular TSA on an airplane, now they just use your digital ID. They don't even need your boarding ticket because they know where you are at all times. So that was very interesting with that Saturn and Neptune, because the Neptune represents photography, Aries represents the head. So literally the photography of the head, and Saturn having that control and limiting you is very interesting. Also too, I already talked about ICE and how that affects that. Okay. And creating a social credit and limiting yourself. That's also a huge discussion that's been, I've been hearing in the news happening as well. So just a few things I jotted down on my phone. Yeah. Also too, this month we have Mercury retrograding in Leo. You are going to talk about the things of leaders. Okay. So Aries is already about the war. So we have the issues of war, and that is what we have, that Neptune and Saturn and Aries, and it's retrograding. So this is going to be, any planet retrograding is no bueno. It's worse. It's slowing down, or it's repeating steps, or it's not acting right. So it's going to be stronger. The deceitfulness will be stronger, or it will be more deceitful, more corrupt. Okay, the conspiracy theories will be more blown up, and it's going to be in regards to things that you need to be accountable for, our government, our restrictions. Okay, now Mercury retrograding in Leo. Leo represents, the theme Leo represents presidencies and leadership and people, royalty. Okay, so you have that happening in July. But if you want to know personally about you, it's about your ego. It's about some you being on stage, and there's some missteps in regards to discussion. So leaders, influencers, children, okay, things that you feel more about the heart, things regarding how you feel about the heart, performers, ego-fueled communication mistakes, or even purchasing things. So overall, July is going to bring revolution meets reflection, truth-telling gets tricky, upgrade your mindset, that kind of energy. Okay, so now, before I even get started, you guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, help me out. Just give me my flowers now. Okay. You love astrology. You love predictions. You love learning about yourself. Just, it doesn't hurt. Okay. Anytime you watch a YouTube, you get one little thing from that YouTube, give the thumbs up. If you get more than one thing, or you just like the whole video, you like that they put in drop a comment, drop an emoji. It's very simple, you guys. That is the way you tip them. Any type of person that you are listening to their content, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on people creating content, that's a lot of work. Some people do it for fun, but people want to know, they want to get their flowers. So give them their flowers now. Yeah. Okay. So there is what we have. Now we are going to get into the dates here. Okay. Now, normally I have a whole thing on the dates. I was like, I'm just going to get straight to it. Okay. So July 4th here, let me put it up here. And normally I have two screens here, and I don't have my second screen. So if you write a comment, please have patience on me seeing your comment, because I'll look at it in between the dates here, because I have to cover you up. Okay. So July 4th here, that's what we have here on the screen. And that's the first time that I see something big happening for us as a collective. And now Venus is going to, first of all, It's going to be the night of July 4th, towards the evening. Venus is going to conjunct Uranus. It's going to be at 29 degrees. Venus is sitting next to Uranus at 29 degrees. Anytime you have a conjunction, it's good or bad. But what I will tell you is that it's strong. If you are old here, you know that. If you are new here, welcome. Okay, so this is July 4th. It's going to be strong. Okay, you're feeling it already. I was just listening to a podcast and they were talking about a guy getting married to AI. Okay, this is what that means. Okay, in one part, relationship breakups, rebirth of some relationships or friendships or love, romance. It could be fun. Are you like, you know what? I want my freedom. Uranus wants this. It doesn't want to be bogged down. It needs to be independent. So you have that disruptive affairs. Also, too, some love triangles. That kind of situation is what this can mean. Sudden attractions, eccentric style, maybe even disharmony, too. Because remember, it could be good or bad. So you could be dressing very different and it really works, or you could be dressing too eccentric and it's like, that's not really working. Okay. Social life, it could be really fun or there could be restless energy. It could be really fast relationships. Uranus likes to move really fast. It gets really restless. It has a lot of anxiety. And now you're involving parties. So you can be very anxious at a party. You could be really restless at a party, or you could be very social at a party. It's all up to you too. It's also how you react. Okay, you'll respond. Intellectual social events. Uranus represents the intellectual ability, energy. Also, too, Uranus represents the social media. So all the social media people, when I look at their charts, they have a strong Uranus aspect somewhere involved in there. And so communication and socializing and social media. Okay, so sudden shifts in love, money, and pleasure, because they're in the sign Taurus. Venus rules over Taurus, so the energy is strong. But Uranus brings the instability and surprise when it comes to the finances. Okay, and remember, 29 is a critical degree. It's at a point where it's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. It's an urgency. You got to hurry up. This is when we had the fires there's in LA. So a lot of like quick and hurry up, because it's about to change to another sign. Okay, there could be some financial upheaval. Venus is in charge of our finances, is in charge of what we naturally attract. There also could be changes at a party. All of a sudden, a party got disrupted. Okay, a lot of innovation too on a positive side with finances, radical self-worth. You may be feeling a certain urge to change your appearance, to leave a toxic relationship, or demand more freedom in love or work or any type of form of relationship. 29 degrees says you are being true to what you value, or you're trying to preserve comfort at the cost of being very authentic, and hurry the F up. Okay. Venus is in his domicile, is very strong in Taurus. So there's a big theme already with comfort and luxury and finances and money and self-care, all that, makeup. I think of makeup as self-care, but whatever you think of self-care, all that's happening now. Uranus at 29 degrees in Taurus is a final disruption before it enters Gemini, which we talked about earlier. And that conjunction of those two are merging these things together. They're in love. They're as one. So relationships, parties, socializing, what you naturally attract for as finances and self-care, that's the Venus. Uranus is the planet of disruption. So add that to disruption, a disruption in a relationship. Okay. Uranus represents intellectual aspect. So intellectual energy for us relationships. So it could bring you some clarity or some communication as well. Okay. Uranus also moves fast. So now Uranus is making the relationship move super fast. Okay. Or the party is moving fast, or the party is restless. Okay. So you have all that. And also too, finances on a big thing. Now, the next day we have two things happening here. Uranus will be moving into Venus will be moving into Gemini. And when Venus enters Gemini, the planet of love, beauty, money, aesthetics, and what we value, now it moves into the planet of thought, communication, variety. Gemini represents a lot of options. I always say the rainbow, okay? Not just like the rainbow of LBGTQ, and that's part of it, but also the rainbow of communication, of wanting it all. Okay, a lot of choices. What do we have here? My thumbs up isn't registering. Well, I'm sure it will after you do it. What does it say? On point. Thank you, Anointed. Thank you so much. And then here we have subscribing is free. Yes, it is free. But I know that unconsciously we get into a habit of watching or listening to our favorite person, and we don't think about subscribing, hitting that bell. It's a very unconscious statement that just comes in one ear out the other. I used to do that as a person who was just listening or watching, and I realized the importance of rating or thumbs upping or subscribing or writing a comment is very important. It really helps out a lot of people who create content. Okay. Speaking of content and communication, Venus and Gemini, show the people the love, right? That's basically the Venus and Gemini, but it's also about love that gets intellectual. So when Venus enters Gemini, July 4th, which is a great time, right? The firecrackers and all that stuff. And Mars is in Virgo. So I wonder how the firecrackers, well, we got some fire here. We got some fire here. Okay, so never mind. The firecrackers will be continuing. However, Venus and Gemini themes, you are now talking about having love or having a social event, and it's really about clear communication or something about intellectual, or there's some learning energy. Nothing too deep. Gemini doesn't want to get too deep, so words just become more of like a love currency, like how you speak, how you write, how you express yourself, and there's an attraction there. Okay, so you can't talk to me if you don't want to get close to me, kind of energy. Okay. Variety, not commitment. Venus and Gemini. I have a Venus and Gemini on my chart. A lot of people ask me who are really into astrology, like, are you in a committed relationship? I am. But when there's out of looking at someone's chart and not looking at everything involved, just generally, stereotypically, Venus and Gemini doesn't want to commit because, again, it wants all the options. It wants the rainbow. Okay. Venus and Gemini also is aesthetic shift. There's very playful, youthful expression. So people will be dressing more youthful, or maybe you'll be more attracted to that fashion. What is it? Forever 21. Oh, I was saying I have a video. All the thoughts are moving fast in my head. Okay. I also just recently did a video on Venus, and I did it in the sign Gemini and what that looks like. It's a really fun video, and I'm going to do all the Venus signs. I'm still doing videos on astrology and literature because I love to read. So we're still having that. But there's so many videos that I want to do. Like, I want to do the stereotypes. I did a few on astrology and break that down for you guys, and it was something else that I'm currently doing. Okay, we'll get into that. But look, check out the other videos if you're new here. Okay, Venus and Gemini also too is money moves, so small splurges on things. It doesn't want to get too deep, so you're not going to learn how to get money on a deeper level. You're just like, I'll diversify my money, or diversify my income, multiple streams of versatile spending. Okay, maybe you're spending a lot here and there, like on books, on technology, on accessories, on social media, or learning tools, or short trips, because Gemini is about your local day-to-day trips, or even anything that serves a dual purpose. Okay. Gemini favors a flexible income stream. So you could be freelancing during Venus and Gemini, or online work, or passive sources of income. Okay. But a lot of fast talking at the social parties, a lot of rich ideas at any type of social party or anything new and very social, a lot of hand gestures. Venus and Gemini. Okay. Social media makeovers, or really focusing on social media is huge. Launching anything new for as a writing or podcasting or emails, all that is what you get with Venus and Gemini. Even content ideas, learning something new. Less emotional, more curious. A lot of curiosity, a lot of questions, information overload, a lot of gossip too. Finding a beauty in gossip. So yeah, watch out for fickle feelings during Venus and Gemini. If you are single, or if you're in a relationship and it's a little bit on the edge, a lot of like, I don't want to get too deep. I just want to stay on the surface. Or, you know what, today I feel this way and I feel that way. It's not two-faced energy. It's a lot of flip-flopping. Okay. Overthinking matters of the heart. Scatter energy across too many options. Now, again, on the same day, you have Neptune that will be retrograding in Aries. And I talked about this at the top of my video. Neptune is a planet that is about illusions. Neptune is about deception. Neptune is about secrets. Neptune is about foggy, being in the fog. Okay. So the illusions in a sign Aries is the hero. He's the warrior. He's the war. Okay. So there's going to be some challenge here, and there's some redoing or repeating of the war, of the secrets of the war. Now, Neptune's going to retrograde before Saturn. So the secrets and the deception in the fog will either be clear, we'll be able to see it because Neptune's not able to hide it, or it will get worse. Okay, during retrograde, we may realize that we've been chasing ego-based dreams or disguised as a divine mission, our religious cause, our energy of being compassionate. So for example, if we are in war and they're trying to give the illusion that we care about the people, that could be lifted. This is an example, whether you agree with the war or not. I'm just telling you what the astrology means. Also, to spiritual identity crisis, Aries represents the identity, it's the action, it's the leadership, it is the self. Neptune is confusion, sacrifice. Okay, and illusion. Neptune is going to sacrifice a lot of things. Okay, retrograding in Aries, that means doubts about your personal power or your direction, or not being aware of who's a false prophet or who's a leader or who's supposed to be first, or is it about the self? Okay, and questions like, am I asserting myself, or am I escaping responsibility under this fake cause, under this fake leader? Rethinking motivation and innovation. Also too, you might feel less sure about charging ahead. You're going to be lost in the sauce on moving forward on this self. Okay, Aries represents first, Aries represents the self, Aries represents war, Aries represents the head, Aries represents first self, head, moving, impulsivity. Okay, your physical body. And all those things are going to be questioned. All those things will either be lifted in a fog or questioned or lost even more. War and conflict narratives, which is the Aries, may unravel. Neptune brings exposure to the false justification of that. Soldiers, Aries represents soldiers. It represents anything sharp, any type of weapon, any type of gun, blood as well. Activists, influencers, and leaders may undergo a crisis under faith. Faith are an unmask, because Neptune makes it all dark and mass. That could be lifted. Okay, propaganda. So a lot of people who are probably going to want to be in the war, there may be a change in that. So be aware of that. Propaganda and spiritualized violence. And then when Neptune starts retrograding, because that will happen this month, and they are sitting together, there will be a restriction of that. So anyone who is in the military now and they're trying to back out, the government's going to get involved in that. I mean, it already is, but I'm just telling you, more restrictions when it retrogrades. Okay, propaganda and spiritualized violence are called out and held accountable with that Saturn sitting there. Potential for convert military or cyber ops. Okay, this can be worse. So even if we're not talking about ourselves collectively, because Aries represents the self, but Aries also represents war. So now you have the war, and that could be more secretive, or maybe the secrets will be revealed in regarding the open enemy. Okay, so you do have that, and Neptune represents the secret enemy, not necessarily the open enemy. So be ready for that. Okay, all these are still in my 20 to 25 playlist. Please watch them. They're so good and so accurate, and everything has been going according to I'm so sad to say, according to what I've already put in those videos. Now, speaking of those videos, I also done July 7th, what happens. And on July 7th, we have Uranus. Where's Uranus? It enters Gemini, okay? Now Uranus enters all those things that I discussed earlier. And I also have an individual video on this with horoscopes and tarot, so check that out. But information overload, AI generated fake news, deep fakes, intellectual manipulation, and information wars, okay, between government, influencers, online factions, short attention spans. Oh my gosh, Gemini wants to move so fast. I have a Mars in Gemini, so I want to move fast. I don't have time for patience. And that Uranus is already so fast. So get ready for that. There also could be a lot of technical chaos, and this could be happening all the way until I think it's 2030. 7 years. Let me put the years that it retrogrades back into Taurus. But when it gets out of Gemini, it's around 2033. Okay. So we're going to get used to this. Get ready. And the most important times is when it has let me put July 7th is when it happens. The most important times is, first of all, when it hits 0 degrees, and that's what we're going to be feeling at the beginning. When it hits 15 degrees, there's going to be a midpoint, and that's going to be strong. And when it hits 29 degrees, also in between that, anytime it square something, conjunct something, opposes something, and we'll get into that as I do my weekly astrology. But just be aware of that. Those are the most important times for Uranus, and that's when they act up. Now, it could be different for your chart. If you have any planets in the sign Gemini, it's going to affect you. And that's going to be a different time, because everyone has a different degree of when that hits that Gemini. And it could be, and it also depends on what house it enters. When Uranus enters Gemini and it enters a house, like it is in my 6th house right now, which represents some health concerns, which, yes, there is some, but however, it's nothing that I can't beat. So nothing deadly or anything, but there is a sudden surprise in health, or there's something as far as work. Now, if it enters your seventh house, which it will be, then there could be issues with a partnership or relationship and aesthetics. And I shouldn't say issues, just a change, something out of the box, something different. Okay. And I did change my health dramatically in a very positive way. So I just want you to understand that Uranus is going to affect everyone. Wherever it goes in this chart in Gemini, it will affect, but some people will affect more because it's hitting their personal planets. Okay. So Uranus in Gemini is going to affect all people who have Gemini placements. It's going to affect all people who have any Sagittarius placements. In a good way, it's going to affect all of my air signs. So in a positive way, it's going to really help you, Libras. It's going to really help all my Aquarius. It's going to be very positive for you because it will be trining your personal planets. Now, it's not going to work good with any mutable signs. If you have any placements in Virgo, if you have any placements in Pisces, it's like, oh my gosh, there's tensions. It's fine. It just means you have to be flexible and you got to let it go and you got to let God. Okay. Now back to Uranus and Gemini. Just entering Gemini for the collective. Okay. Some technical chaos, some revolution. Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It is the planet of strikes. It's the planet of let's fight for a cause, let's boycott. Now it's going to enter Gemini. A lot of people saying, I need to speak my truth. I need to rebel in communication. So global internet disruptions, hacks on communication. There could be something with satellite and drones. It represents the air. So the technology in the air, okay? Smart vehicles also too. So those Waymos, those self-driving cars, these things can get improved. And they can get better. Teslas can get better. Any type of self-driving car, you'll probably see a lot more of those while Uranus is in Gemini. Revolution in communication, new networks, and mental awakening. So Gemini represents the social links. It represents duality. It represents networks. It represents shared knowledge. So there could be some social platforms that's going to have a huge change. Anything dealing with the brain and processing information and learning something, there could be a huge shift in that, and thinking outside of the box and creating something to the future. The positive thing about Uranus is that it does think outside of the box and it brings something very futuristic to you. The negative side is that it is a disruption and a lot of people don't like change. So you have that issue too, okay? But it's very futuristic. Transportation, I talked about that. Short trips, mobility, all that. You think the Waymos were, it's going to get more extreme, okay? Transportation turmoil, sudden issues with air travel, vehicles, and fast-moving technology, but there will be improvement. Verbal manipulation and changing and flip-flopping, that's going to be an issue. Rise of the trickster. Gemini likes to play pranks, so that's going to be very interesting. We'll probably see that a lot more on social media, disinformation, propaganda, also to a lot of disruption as far as gossiping. Gemini likes to gossip. Intellectual diversity, split consciousness. You're talking about twin reality. So Gemini rules duality. Uranus may be active, will be active in that duality energy. So split timelines or paradoxes are mainstreaming, and intellectual diversity or debates around identity. Oh, Gemini loves to debate. So get ready for that even more on social media. I dislike the debates on social media, but I do like to hear both sides. So a lot of those things for us learning and debating. So get ready for that, okay? Oh, also too, new languages. That could be happening, okay? And it could be not just new languages as far as like Spanish and French. That could be a possibility, but also new languages as far as like AI or decoding or something like that. Get ready for education changing. Early education, not higher education. That's more Sagittarius, but education changing. A war for truth, a war for knowledge, a war for the mind, okay? And any type of war for us communication, we have that as well, okay? Now, Venus, too, will be trining. Venus here will be trining Pluto, which is great, right? Pluto is very intense. It likes to pull out the mystery, likes to be very deep. It's a planet of healing and psychology. It also deals with finances. And anytime you have Venus and Pluto, it could be dealing with some finances personally, but there's deep passions, there's renewing relationships, there's the power of love, there's beauty and the beast, right? Because Pluto is a little dark energy. I actually love Pluto, the planet, because it retrogrades probably like 6 months out of the year. And I love that it gets really deep and you have to go into the dark side in order to see the light. So I like that it pulls all the skeletons out, and it's going to pull all the skeletons out in the name of love. Now, the skeletons won't be harsh or hurt because it's trining. So this is just a blessing. Okay. So you could be having some mental seduction or some mental stimulation. You could be having some emotional intelligence, which, oh, that is my thing, boy. Some emotional intelligence, and you're at a social party or you're at a party. There could be something dealing with finances and it's increasing, and there's some passion, or there's some strategy, or there's some hidden wealth, or there's some power behind some finances, and it could be shared income too. Yeah, and what else we have? Strategic peace talks, unexpected diplomatic charm. Venus is very diplomatic. It's the planet of harmony. Social influencers are thinkers gain power in a subtle way as well. Okay, speak your truth with impact. Deepen or regenerate, revise. That Pluto likes to transform, and it could be transforming a relationship in a very positive way through words, through communication, through social media. Okay, now on July 10th, we actually have a full moon in Capricorn, a Capricorn full moon. And a Capricorn full moon every time generally is any full moon is a culmination. And also too in Capricorn, it's a maturity or responsibility, accountability. Could be dealing with the father. Yeah, and maybe even thinking about long-term things that you neglected. The moon is dealing with our emotions, and the moon represents our mother, and the sun represents our father. So there could be this back and forth energy because there's a tug of war. These things are opposing something against our mom, something against our father, and it's dealing with this tug of war, or something against a home, and something, this tug of war between work. Okay, now it is sextile the North Node, so there is something dealing with our future here. Trining the South Node and sextile the North Node. So it's going to work with releasing something, having something that needs to be released that's very judgmental, or it's the details, and really perfecting something that is divine timing, or your intuition, or your soul growth, or spiritual alignment. And yeah, it's really working for you. Emotional wounds also are going to really work because Chiron has a positive aspect too. Well, no, a negative aspect. So it's going to bring some tension around a old wound, which will make sense because you need to release something. So yeah, so fear of rejection, imposter syndrome, pain around being seen, or taking the lead. Okay. Yeah, I'll get more into the full moon. I always do videos on the full moon and the new moon, and I do horoscopes. So yes. Now the sun, July 11th, is going to trine the North Node. And when the sun trines the North Node, then we get, where's my North Node? Here it goes. The sun trines the North Node, and then it was sextile the South Node. This again is emotional. So it's like once this leaves, then this happens, right? Yeah, and it's also dealing with that new moon energy, but a lot of emotional wisdom, and it's going to align with your soul purpose. There's healing through acceptance. There's subtle redirection towards your soul's growth. A lot of letting your heart guide you, a lot of divine timing, a lot of spirituality. Pisces love to feel, and they go with your intuition. Yeah, also very creative and loving and compassionate energy. And now your drive is involved. Okay. Now on the 12th of July, then Saturn is going to start to enter the party of retrograding here. And now this is the planet of the government. Okay. Government and war. This is the father of war. This is the restrictions. The planet of maturity, the planet of accountability. Also to that stern father, or that mentor, or that boss that you looked up to, kind of energy. Okay, I always say the old man or father time. Okay, so Saturn stations retrograde in Aries, and a lot of confronting some immature patterns, things that you were moving too fast for, or too quickly, or you were selfish, or there wasn't any forethought. All that's going to be brought back up. You're gonna have to redo it because you were moving too fast. You weren't slowing down. You weren't paying attention to the details. This is also to accountability with your actions. Okay, if you bulldozed over someone, if you avoided responsibility, or if you rush into a situation without any planning, this retrograde is gonna hold that mirror up and say, slow it down, mofo. You moving too fast. Okay. This is dealing with the military. This is dealing with leadership. This is dealing with someone who is first, someone who is impulsive, someone who is restless, someone who, even athlete. This is also some collective movements around war, conflict. Anyone who is the head, or the brave, or the warrior. Okay. Also, too, this could be leadership redefined. Okay, get ready for that. We'll see if there's any type of cracks. It will be revealed while this retrograde. So the authority figures, the institution, also represents a corporation of some sort. So that could be coming up. We'll see. Or the inner warrior, there's going to be some work there. Okay, they're going to have to recommit to something, or reflect, or rebuild. We'll see how this affects the collective. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, you heard it here. Now on the 17th of July. On the 17th of July, now Mercury will be retrograding. And now Mercury has entered the building. I already told you it's pre-shadow phase. I've done a video on Mercury retrograding already. It was in the last video. So check out the dates, important dates. If you are trying to fly, if you're trying to sign a contract, and any type of contract dealing with yourself, your self-expression, being bold, being courageous, public speaking, traveling, because Mercury always deals with traveling. Yeah, anything dealing with Leo themes. Also, being an athlete. You just want to. I sign contracts all the time during Mercury retrograde, but I really take my time. I really read the fine print, and I don't normally do that. So do that, and that's why I also traveling. I really planned around the traveling with astrology. I don't normally do that because I have such a strong Neptune energy. I do believe in divine timing, but I did it, and I think it worked out for the best because Mercury retrograding in Leo, it's going to bring some stuff. Okay, so Mercury retrograde, if you already planned your trip, go on it because you planned it. So go on to it, but just be flexible when there's delays or disruptions or a change. Okay, but when it's retrograding in Leo, some core themes we have here is rewriting a story of the self. There could be some overblown narratives. Could be some ego-driven messages, or maybe places where you mistake as a performance or being authentic is not. I mean, miscommunication around anything dealing with your pride or your passion, or you being on stage or being visible. Leo also is the energy of creativity. So there could be some do-overs as far as like being creative or your brand. Maybe you're redesigning that, you're revisiting it, you're rebranding, you're reflecting. Internal dialogue around your worthiness or being recognized. Like, why can't people see me? A lot of that is going to be redoing. Now, as far as leadership, because I have to bring leadership in because Leo is such a strong Leo energy, a lot of ego-driven conversations or speeches, and it's going to backfire. Okay, public backlash, misquotes, or scandals. That's nothing new, but it will be stronger. Okay, now this is going to affect Trump. He's a Leo rising. He has Pluto in Leo, and then he has Mars in Leo, and it hits one of those planets. I don't remember what, but I remember bringing it up in the Mercury retrograde video, or maybe in another one, but I definitely brought it up. Public image can be revisiting, like because we're not just talking about Trump, any type of leader, even celebrities, PR nightmares, leaked messages, conversations could resurface whenever Mercury's retrograding. You guys, this is when it's like that video came out. It's like this video was filmed in 1980 and we just not seeing it. So old videos, anything old for our social media, or an old email, a text message, maybe not pictures, but something is going to get leaked usually whenever Mercury is retrograding. Creative blocks and performance anxiety, power reclaimed and rejected. Far as the leader, and far as like creative blocks, leaders may not be creative, or they are going to be performing. It's like, why are they stuttering? Why are they so nervous? That could be happening, and they could be canceling some appearances. Anything that's dealing about talk, or they could be all talk and no substance. That could be happening. A lot of clashes with authority figures. Get ready for the X or Twitter or whatever you name them. Get ready for them to be arguing online. So the leaders, okay, even other people, but the leaders, especially celebrities, okay. Some people could resign. Some leaders could resign. Issues around free speech, performance pressure, and fame fatigue. Like, we are tired of you being famous, okay. On the 20th of July, we have Mars is going to oppose and conjunct the South Node, and it will be opposing the North Node. Things are overdoing and trusting. There is this tug of war between that. Mars in Virgo wants to fix, it wants to perfect, it wants to plan, it wants to act with precision, and it's our drive, it's our action planet, and now it's going against divine timing, okay? So it's like you are doing team too much during this time, okay, around July 20th, and you won't feel it that day. You'll feel it a little bit as it lingers, gets closer, okay? Spiritual just changing yourself spiritually in regards to work, in regards to health as well. Karmic realignment through tensions. Do less to receive more. Don't confuse control with mastery, and let go what isn't working, and let go of the details. You will be so fixated on details. Get ready on that, and it's going to mess up the divine timing. Now on the 21st, of July, Venus in Gemini is going to square the North Node, and it's going to square what I can never find. It's going to square the South Node. So a lot of divine timing things within this month. So things that we are meant to do, you're going to have some issues. It's a T square. T square means that these two, they're always opposing, but the focus is the Venus, the harmony of talking of self or balance of the self. Okay. Venus in Gemini squares the North Node and the South Node. Tensions between what's clever and what's soulful, between flirtation and faith, between surface level connections and karmic purpose. Love could be an illusion here. You're talking about relationships and finances and money. All that could be a little lost in the sauce because Pisces is dealing with the same thing as Neptune. Okay. Emotional avoidance when it comes to your soul alignment, financial and creative confusion. Be ready for that. For anything that we're supposed to meant to do in this lifetime, a little lost in the sauce around that time. Okay. Now, July 22nd, we have happy solar return to all my Leos. We leave Cancer season. I am a Cancer. If you did not know that, I love Cancers. So hello to all my Cancers. I love all my waters. I actually like all the zodiac signs. Leo, I tell you why I love you. I love that you guys are very bold. I love that you're very charming. I love your creativity. You guys are very creativity. And Leos, you guys are really fun and you're very motivated. You can bring some passion into the building. But the sun revolves around you. Okay. You guys come in and I feel like you glow. One of my favorite cousins is a Leo and I just love her to death. She has no idea. She's just doing her and she comes in and to me she lights up a room. So that's why I love Leos. But you guys, as a collective, the season will be changing more into radiance, confidence, creativity, bold expression. It is the middle of summer, so everyone get your bathing suits out. I may not, but go ahead. But owning your own story and leading from the heart. A lot of energy as a collective of having self-expression and visibility and being brighter and being braver and being more performative. A lot of creativity, a lot of heart-centered leadership or heart-centered leadership within the self. Okay. Passion, romance, play, shadow side though, a lot of ego, a lot of drama, a lot of being burned out, needing too much validation, performing rather than being authentic, competing instead of collaborating, burnout from trying too hard because you just want to shine. You just want to shine. This is going to bring highlighting a lot of things within all the leaders in war. So get ready for that. We'll see how that goes. It's going to work out for a lot of war things because anytime it's a fire sign, is trining. So it will work out for the government as a whole if you don't agree with the government. Okay. Yeah. Some predictions is some creative entrepreneurs, they'll probably thrive and they'll launch something. Public figures, influencers, celebrities, or leaders, they're going to face both praise and scrutiny. There will be some awareness coming up, some clarity with that. Romantic revelations could be happening, especially around self-worth. Children, youth, and education may become more hot topics globally. Anything dealing with gold too, because Leo likes to talk about gold. Okay. Now on the 23rd of July, we have Venus will be squaring Mars. Okay. Whenever Venus and Mars get involved, I'm like, this is masculine and feminine energy to the utmost. You're talking about in the sign Gemini, you're talking about in the sign Virgo. Both of those planets are ruled by Mercury. Okay. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So mind versus method. Venus and Gemini is very chatty, it's very curious, it's very lighthearted when it comes to love. And Mars is like, no, I need the details. I need to be very methodical and I need to take my time. I want to move slow and Venus wants to move fast. So there is some frustration there. The female's moving fast. The man is moving very slow. Okay. Tensions in love and communication, creative spark, not smooth selling. Okay. This aspect might bring some high intimacy or creative tension, but it's not necessarily comfortable. So get ready for that. Not great for all my single people, not great for if you're trying to seek some harmony. There could be some imbalance when it comes to someone who's very confrontational or very impulsive or very like aggressive. Okay, that Mars likes to be aggressive. Now also too, on July 24th we have a Leo new moon happening here. It's going to conjunct Mercury. Anytime we have a new moon, it's about a reset, and in Leo it's about self-expression, courage, and creativity. And there is going to be a reset around your confidence, around being visible, around joy and happiness and love. Leo new moon core themes are reclaiming your shine, starting fresh with your identity. There could be a creative rebirth in far as art, performance, or inner child, being on stage, launching anything kind of creative, like a creative project. Anytime you have a new moon and a full moon, it's not the time to do something. It's just the time to plan it. Heart-centered intentions. Yeah, now it will be, I'm looking at it. This new moon, most likely, it will be opposing Pluto. Yeah, so that is an issue for as something very intense and something that needs healing and something dealing with psychology, or a lot of power control is going to be an issue of you trying to pursue something and get a reset of some sort. And then it will be trining this energy, which is very positive for us, like the restrictions and being lost in the sauce, but it could be more divine restrictions, or divine a divine mentor, or divine someone who's very spiritual, and he's a mentor or older man, or something that is very accountable, and it's divine timing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, now let me see anything else. That's what I have now. We'll get it. Oh, it's going to sextile Uranus. That's positive. So the biggest sextile, meaning that it's going to be positive when it comes to communication. Okay, more to that, but I'm leave it at that. Now, again, because I talked about the new moon, it's going to trine Neptune, is going to trine Saturn, and this is confidence with structure. This is rebuilding your identity and purpose. There's creative projects and staying in power, and then also too, it's going to trine this Saturn. So this is very positive towards the end of July. There's visionary confidence. Anything you're trying to pursue, God is on your side. Okay. The sun likes to highlight, it likes to achieve things. It's a higher octave of Mars. Mars likes to, there's action. Well, the sun represents fertility, giving birth, not to a baby, it could be, but also giving birth to something you want to achieve. Okay. So healing the ego with soul, visionary confidence, spiritual and creative expression. Very positive. You guys pursue all that you can towards the end of July. You're going to feel more motivated to do it. Now, again, that sun will be opposing Pluto, though. So there will be like an ego check and some type of empowerment or some power struggle. This always represents power struggles whenever these two things are dealing with it. So you could be burned out, and then it wants to stay in the dark because Pluto loves to have the dark. There could be Pluto also represents a death or regeneration. So there could be a death of an ego, a death of your drive. When I say a death, a change, a transformation happening to yourself. Also, too, this could be a death of a leader, too. I have to look more into that. Now, July 30th, Venus will enter Cancer. Oh my gosh, everyone. I'm like, why am I not July 30th? Okay, so Venus will be at 29 degrees and urgency, like, hurry up, I gotta speak this. I gotta talk about my the fact that I'm not having harmony. I'm gonna have to discuss about something with the relationship. So urgency for that. But when it enters Cancer, it's gonna be home is where the heart is. If you are born at night and you are a Cancer sun or any Cancer placement, this is gonna be very positive for you. It's gonna be sitting on top of those personal planets. So that's great for you, but very sentimental and soulful love. It's mood driven. It's driven for money too. Cancers are usually the richest in the zodiac, and the reason why is because they want security. They have to have security to feel safe, and a lot of cancers or people feel safe when they have finances. Okay. Yeah, but you can be very moody when it comes to your fashion. Yeah, so on the shadow side, you could be overgiving, or you could be very smothering. Cancer energy is very clingy, emotionally manipulated, or you could feel guilty about something, or you're clinging to the past and you're resisting for change. For anything dealing with your harmony or aesthetics or relationship, going back to a past relationship, oh Lord, don't do that. Okay. A rise in conversations around home prices, redecorating your home, food security or anything dealing with security, parenting, the mom, women's rights, the womb, ancestral healing. Yeah, so get ready for that. More appreciation of material figures, caregivers, even fathers, and emotional intelligence. Okay. Yeah, and this is also going to work really good with all my water placements. You're going to have some great improvement, or God's just going to be blessing you. It's not going to work great with any of my Capricorn placements. You're going to have a tug of war with this, and I'll do a video on this and the horoscopes on this as well. And autumnal cardinal signs, which is a Leo and the Aries, there's going to be some issues here. And then you see, once Venus enters Aries, it's going to be clashing with the government. So the partner, so whoever the government or whoever's in charge of the government, there's some tensions with their partner. So it's like America and Israel are a president and their VP. Okay, so there's some issues with that. Or a woman. This could literally represent a woman. Water sign is someone of the past, so a leader of the past, or a relationship that is from the past, or something with the history, because Cancer represents the history. I do want to say that Chiron too will start to retrograde, so reclaiming the inner warrior triggers as being the teacher, because it's old pains, okay, and there's some past conflicts happening here. Independence, far as your healing journey, because it is independent. That is Aries energy, and this is about the healing. Okay, bring up global and generational themes of violence, war, wounded, of the masculinity, because the Aries represents the masculine energy, and there is some healing there as a collective. Now, on July 31st, we have a Kazemi happening here. And with the Kazemi, Kazemi's Mercury's retrograding, and when it starts to retrograde, it has a Kazemi, and then it'll have it again. But when it has the first Kazemi, there is some clarity, aha moment, and it's more internal. So truth from the heart, rewriting your story, clarity in chaos, messages that could be going viral. Leo's rules the stage, so Mercury rules the messages. So the Kazemi could bring a powerful quote or a speech or something that's online. Okay, collectively, world leaders, again, there's something there, and it could be a message or a tweet or an email that got leaked, and we'll be able to see it. So that's exciting for a Kazemi. It does have a wide opposition here to Pluto, so this could be something that it could be secret. Pluto represents mystery as well, and that could be coming out as well. And it's still, remember I said earlier that it does have this trine here, which is positive. Once Mercury moves out of the sun's heart, it returns to confusion of retrograde. So if you need to get anything done, and as far as like signing the contract, if you could, I would sign it on the 31st if you have the power to. If you don't, just take your time. Okay. Yeah, so that is what we have for July. Let me pull some cards here for overall in July. Thank you guys for staying and listening. And yeah, you guys take care in July. July is going to be a big month. Happy solar return to all my Cancers. Happy solar return to all my Leos. And in July, okay, there is going to be a huge shift far as the economy. Okay, a huge shift for as the economy, looking at things differently, or sacrificing a lot of finances. Okay, changing your perspective when it comes to finances on an individual level. Also, too, there's some divine timing coming far as an inheritance or finances. Okay, far as health, there is going to be a collective or individual energy of changing the way you look at your health. This is the card that represents Neptune, so there could be some secrets when it comes to the economy and finances. There could be some secrets when it comes to your health. This card represents tangible things, tangible results. It's very positive. It's abundant. This card, not necessarily negative, but because it represents Neptune, there could be a fog. This card also represents sacrificing. So you could be sacrificing your health or your finances or something tangible. There could be some sacrificing of an inheritance or something that you were supposed to get. This is abundance of money. So normally this represents something positive, but my intuition is telling me that there's going to be a sacrifices of finances in the month of July, and that could represent the economy. So you guys save your coins. Everyone should be saving their money. I'm going to do one special for all my my Cancers. We have the sun. All of my Cancers, if you're having a solar return, if you are a Cancer sun, there's great positivity. Everyone's looking at you. You're very happy. This is a card of success, happiness, and creating something and giving life to something. For all of my Leos during this time, there is a energy of you feeling trapped, and there's high emotions, and you are creating this entrapment for yourselves, Leo. What can we do with that? We got two cards that want to come out. First of all, you're going to go on a new journey. You need to pack light. The emotions need to be released too. Okay, pack light. A lot of Aries energy. There's going to be new journeys for you, and expect the unexpected. Be flexible and pack light when it comes to your emotions. And use all the tools that God has given you. Okay, because you feel entrapped, Leos, and you need to release that entrapment because this is all in your head. You made it up. It's an illusion in your head, and you need to stay strong. You're a very fixated sign anyway. So I don't think you have a problem with staying guarded and stand your truth, okay? In this month during July, okay? Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for listening and watching. Bye.
Bye bye.